What is going on, guys? Gamers Goon here today with my NFL mock draft 2021. Now, this is the first 2 rounds. Obviously, we're not going to get into all of the rounds. I know that I did say that I would get a 7th round mock out. However, I don't really know how to link that. So, if you go check the Twitter, I will post something that goes through what I think will happen throughout the whole 7 rounds. That probably will be out tomorrow morning, early tomorrow morning. But let's get right into it. Let's not play any games to start it off. We know Jacksonville's on the clock. We know exactly what everybody's saying they're going to do, and I don't think there's any reason to believe that Jacksonville's going to go rogue and get something else. I really don't. You look at this draft. In my opinion, the draft actually starts at 4. I think it's a given. I think there's a 99% chance that Trevor Lawrence goes to the Jaguars at 1, and the other 1% is something weird comes out about Trevor Lawrence, and teams get a little bit they get some questions on him. But I think Trevor Lawrence is probably one of the safest picks in the first overall pick that we've seen. I don't see why Jacksonville would move away from him. Trevor Lawrence, he'll be able to take that team, turn it around. Obviously, last year they had a lot of quarterback issues. They were up and down that roster. It sucks when you got a guy as good as DJ Chark who you can't get the ball to because your quarterbacks are inaccurate. So hopefully Trevor Lawrence fixes that problem there up in Jacksonville. Then we get the Jets. The Jets, in my opinion, are taking what is going to end up being, in the long run, the best quarterback in this year's draft, and that is Zach Wilson. I think this is also a given, almost the consensus number 2 guy. There is some people that think maybe he's not the second best QB in this draft as of right now, but Zach Wilson is the second best QB in this draft right now. You want to look at advanced statistics and analytics between Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson, the talent he played with was nowhere near as good as Trevor Lawrence, and Zach Wilson outperformed the talent around him to a level that we haven't seen. So Zach Wilson, if you really want to get into it, is arguably one of the better players in this year's draft. You can make a case for him being better than Trevor Lawrence if you really want to go there. It's not that far-fetched. It really isn't. Zach Wilson, to me, second quarterback in this draft as of right now. In the long run, he's going to be number 1, and I think the Jets get a steal being able to get Zach Wilson in this year's draft. San Francisco, they're an interesting spot. They traded up here. They traded up with the Dolphins. I do have a question, though. They do have 2 in mind. They said that they brought it for pick 3. They have it between Trey Lance and Mac Jones. To me, the third quarterback in this draft is Justin Fields, not Mac Jones, not Trey Lance. And to me, the 4th best quarterback in this year's draft is Trey Lance. The 5th would be Mac Jones. I don't understand why Kyle Shanahan and company think that it's a wise idea to take the 5th QB when they have a chance to get the 3rd QB or the 4th QB in this year's draft. I really don't. It makes sense if you want just a quality player that's you're not really taking a risk. Mac Jones isn't really a risk. You know what you're getting out of Mac Jones. But then again, his ceiling I don't believe is going to be that high. I really don't. To me, Mac Jones is a typical average starting quarterback that always the fan base is either going to love him or hate him. He's either going to be somebody that gets kind of some job scares where they're going to be in a situation where they're not great, but you could always have somebody come in and get drafted that's better if everything pans out the way it needs to. But San Francisco's not going to necessarily give up on him unless there was a glaring opportunity to give up on him. So that's what I think Mac Jones is for the 49ers at pick 3. I think he's going to end up in San Francisco. Number 4, I actually have my first trade. I have my Chicago Bears trading up. And no, we're not getting a linebacker like Roquan. No, No, we're not trading up for Kyle Pitts, even though that'd be kind of cool because Kyle Pitts is Kyle Pitts. I mean, we just drafted Cole last year, so I don't think that's the case. We're not trading up for one of these receivers. As much as I would love to get Jalen Waddle, that is not a need. That is not a priority this offseason. A priority this offseason is quarterback. I've had a couple arguments with people, man, and it said, well, why don't you just draft a receiver this year and then wait till next year to get a quarterback? That's the same shit we do every time. We always push our needs aside. We did the same thing with offensive linemen last year. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And then next year you're going to be saying, well, why don't we get another receiver and let Andy Dalton do another year and wait for it. Next year's quarterback class is terrible. Terrible outside of Michael Penix, who we don't even know if he's going to be in that draft because of injury concerns and all that stuff, because he did come back off of injury. Number one QB next year's draft is Sam Howell. To me, Mac Jones is better than Sam Howell. To me, Kellen Mond is better than Sam Howell. There's at least 5 QBs in this draft that are better than what the number one guy next year's draft is. You have to make a move now if you're Chicago. It's either you're committed to Andy Dalton or you're getting a QB this year. We can't commit to Andy Dalton for 1 year, let him tank, and go get a QB next year, because the QBs this year are way better than they are next year. Next year's QB class is terrible. Terrible. This year's QB class is stacked. Trade up, get him. That's simple. I got Chicago trading up to number 4. I have them trading pick 83 this year, along with the 20th pick this year, with a second round next year, and Anthony Miller. We might have to give up a little more than that, but that's the trade that I've got so far. But I think we'll move up and we will draft Justin Fields at number 4. We can't stay around. We can't play around and keep thinking we're going to get things when we're not. Believe me, the Bears are not bad enough that we are going to be picking within the top 5 next year. We are not that bad. So you can sit there and say, well, you don't need a QB this year. We're going to be in the same place we were this year, next year. We're going to be sitting in the middle of the pack with not many options. Trade up this year when we still have the chance, when we still have Anthony Miller on contract, to pair him into a trade, because right now we don't even know if Anthony Miller is going to be a Bear next year. Use your assets while you still have them. You can't wait around and wait for a quarterback to come falling to you. Go out and get him. Justin Fields. Cincinnati, I think this is a big mistake that I have them doing. To me, Cincinnati should, and if I was the general manager there, I would draft Penei Sewell. But Cincinnati, they have no A.J. Green. They have a quarterback from LSU, which obviously was last year's first pick in the draft, in Joe Burrow. Who did Joe Burrow play with? A receiver out of LSU, Jamar Chase. Some might say he's one of the best receiver prospects we've seen. Now, I think Penei should be the guy because you need somebody to block for Burrow. And I think Penei's the best offensive lineman in this draft. But Cincinnati, there were some rumors going around that potentially they might be interested in receiver. And if they're interested in receiver, that has to be Jamar Chase, top receiver on the board. I got them taking Jamar Chase. Miami, they're on the clock, and I know as much as my boy Joseph Conley, shout out to you, brother. I know as much as he would love to go Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle here, it's not going to happen if Penei Sewell's on the board. Penei Sewell is the best offensive lineman, and if you want to sit there and you want to really go into it, the most successful young quarterbacks, you look at the Josh Allens, you look at the even Deshaun Watson, granted in his situation. You can look at them and you can say they have solid offensive lines. They have solid offensive lines. Larry Tunsil added to the Texans' offensive line really helped Deshaun Watson's case. Lamar Jackson, he had Orlando Brown. There's always that pivotal piece to an offensive line, and sitting at 6, why would you pass on Penei? Why would you pass on him? This is a deep receiver class. You don't have to get one of the top 3 receivers. It's a little bit shallower of a offensive lineman class, and the gap between the top offensive lineman and the secondary offensive lineman is much larger than what the gap between the secondary receivers and the first string receivers are. I got them taking Penei Sewell. Then we have Detroit trading down to Denver. Denver wants to jump Carolina. They don't want to give Carolina the chance to do it because Carolina might go rogue. I doubt they will, but Carolina has potential to move. They could trade potentially, and we also know that Carolina might not be committed to a quarterback situation with Sam Darnold being there, with Teddy Bridgewater. We don't know necessarily what their situation is, but Denver, they know, hey, Drew Lock, he's not been that good. You know who we could really just press the hard reset button on, and we won't have to give up too much to get it because we're only jumping up a couple picks? Let's go get the fourth best QB in this draft. Let's go get Trey Lance out of North Dakota State. I think Denver trades up, gets Trey Lance on the roster, and I think they let Drew Lock and Trey Lance have a little quarterback showdown in camp. That's an interesting move for them. They could obviously go defense. Vic Fangio, very defensive orientated. But to me, I just see them going with Trey Lance. Yeah, you got to get something going on that offense, and I think Trey Lance could be the answer. All right, now we are at the Carolina Panthers. Now, the Panthers, I did say they have potential to move around a little bit. Unfortunately for the Panthers, the fifth QB just came out of the board in the top 10. That means that 5 of the top 7 picks were quarterbacks in this draft. So the Panthers, they're not going to be able to have much value there because I don't see anybody jumping ship for any of the guys left on the board. And with that being said, yes, Kyle Pitts is a very, very intriguing prospect to a lot of teams, but I wouldn't trade up that much to get him. Carolina, I mean, they no longer have a stud tight end. What are they going to do? They're going to go out there and they're going to draft a stud tight end. They're going to play him alongside the guys they got over there. I mean, it's a good situation because you got DJ Moore there. You're going to be fine if you are the Panthers because you got Robbie Anderson. It's going to be a good team. Whether Darnold or Bridgewater starts, it's whatever. I'm not sure. Draft your stud tight end, bolster that offense, focus the rest of the draft, maybe getting some secondary players, maybe getting some linebackers, doing whatever you need to do, get some offensive linemen. But you can't pass on Kyle Pitts at this point if you are the Panthers. I just don't see a way that you can sit on the board at 8 and have a chance at a generational tight end and pass on him. I just don't see it. Then, obviously, we have Detroit taking Denver's pick after Denver moved up 2 spots. Detroit, I think either way, no matter where they end up, they're going receiver, and I think they're taking the second best receiver in this year's draft. The only way I don't see them taking Jalen Waddle here is if Jamar Chase is on the board, which he will be long gone by the time the Lions pick. Jalen Waddle, to me, is going to be, in the long run, the best receiver in this class. Right now, he's the second best overall talent compared to Jamar Chase. And to me, they are much more intriguing of prospects than Devontae Smith just based off size alone. Jalen Waddle has to be prioritized over Devontae Smith if you're a team in need of a receiver. And Detroit is a team in need of a receiver next year after losing Kenny Golladay this offseason. Then we get Dallas. Please don't give me a heart attack again. I wanted to see you guys be successful last year. You took CeeDee Lamb in the first round rather than taking a cornerback. Forget it. You have the top cornerback here at 10, Dallas. Take him, Patrick Surtain. I'm not even a Dallas fan, man, but I hate it. I absolutely hate it when teams have chances to really change the things they're deficient in, and they just don't. Dallas, you have a terrible secondary. Fix it with Patrick Surtain. Giants, to me, the Giants, they could go a couple different places. They could go offensive line. They could possibly go receiver. If one of their receivers are there, I don't think they'll pull the trigger on Devontae Smith. They could go Micah Parsons maybe. the Giants are in an interesting situation. I could even see the Giants moving around a little bit in the first round. But to me, you're sitting there at 11. You got to get the second best corner on the board if you're the Giants. I mean, the Giants are not a bad defense, but I don't really see getting – I mean, you got the receivers now. You're going to have Barkley back. There's no QB to replace Daniel Jones. Maybe Rashawn Slater is the move here, but to me, I think they're going J.C. Horn out of South Carolina, cornerback. Plague him out there in New York and see what he can do for that secondary. Then we have pick 12. Obviously, the Eagles moved around a little bit in this year's draft, and I have the Eagles taking Devontae Smith. I'm not a huge fan of Devontae Smith in the top 15, top 16. He's a very good player, but he's so undersized that it leaves a lot of question marks. And that's unfortunate because he is a hell of a player. But Devontae Smith, a little bit undersized, but you know what? You're the Eagles. You need a receiver. I feel like I said that every year with the Eagles, man. They just don't get it right at receiver. They don't get it right. They have a chance to get it right here with Devontae Smith. He's the most talented receiver left on the board. I don't see how you can pass up on him. Next, we have the Chargers at pick 13. I'm going to keep it simple. They need an offensive line. They need some linebackers. They need a lot of things out in L.A. But unfortunately for them, they ain't getting no linebacker. They ain't getting a Micah Parsons here. They're getting the best guard left on the market, and that is Rashawn Slater. You can plug him anywhere along the offensive line out of Northwestern. I think he'll be a very solid offensive line going forward. Get a nice centerpiece to build around to help Justin Herbert do what he needs to do, help Austin Eckler get the run game going, and I think that offense could be a little bit dangerous there in LA, especially if you see the development of Justin Herbert paired along with a nice offensive lineman. That'd be pretty nice there in LA. 14th is the end of the fall of Christian Darrisaw. I love this guy. If the Bears can't get a quarterback, this is the guy I want. I love Christian Darrisaw out of Virginia Tech. I think he's going to be a very good NFL player. To me, he's the third best offensive lineman in the class. He's the most realistic offensive lineman to be there for pick 20 if the Bears don't move. Darrisaw, I think, is going to be a dominant quality offensive lineman over the course of his career. Unfortunately, he has to go to Minnesota because I'm not feeling that we're going to see one of these front seven members really go in the first round. I think we might see a little bit of a slide there. Now, if I'm Minnesota, you do definitely have to address the front seven, but I don't see how you address the front seven if a potential Pro Bowler offensive lineman's on the board for you guys. 15th. Now, the Patriots might move around. Hopefully they do. I'd like to see the Patriots have a success. Obviously, the Patriots are my second favorite team. And 15, I got them taking Micah Parsons. Now, Micah Parsons is a little bit problematic with being in the whole Penn State situation. That does not mean he is not a good player. I think he might slide a little bit because of his locker room off-field concerns or whatever. But he is a very talented player. He might even be the best defensive player in the entire draft if you don't incorporate the concerns with his character. He might be the most talented player in the draft, and I don't see how, if you're New England sitting at 15, how you can pass that up, because that's not marrying you to the idea. You're not trading up for him, so he doesn't have to be good, but you're taking best player available at that point if you're New England. Micah Parsons, I think, is a great move, especially at 15 for the Patriots. Obviously, a lot of Patriots fans are probably going to want to see maybe a Trey Lance, maybe a Mac Jones if he falls, maybe even a Justin Fields if they trade up. It's not happening. I'm sorry, but it is not happening. The most realistic guy, to me at least, that's going to be on the board when the Patriots picks is Micah Parsons. And I don't see, if you are a Bill Belichick ran team, if you are a Robert Kraft ran team, how you're going to pass on the best player in this draft. I think everybody or the best defensive player in this draft. I think everybody knows how talented he is. There's a lot of questions going around about Micah Parsons. One of the teams that I know for a fact will accept problematic players because they've done it in the past is the Patriots. I could see them doing it and picking up Micah Parsons. I don't think he's going to be much of a concern in the locker room or anything like that. I just think that there's obviously questions. I mean, there's going to be questions when you have that kind of stuff come out about you. 16 is Arizona. I've been consistent with them all along, and I'm going to remain consistent, man. I love the idea of Arizona drafting the edge rusher out of Georgia and Azeez Ojulari. I think this guy's a perfect fit for them. Obviously, that does stack their linebackers. But at the end of the day, you want to come up with one of the best defenses because defense will win championships. Defense is going to be good. Now, I do know that there's potential here to draft a receiver, but the top 3 receivers aren't on the board. I wouldn't jump for a Bateman at this point. I wouldn't jump for a Rondale Moore. I wouldn't drop for a Elijah Moore. I wouldn't jump for a Kadarius Toney at 16. I just wouldn't. You can get another beast on the edge. Make that defense as nasty as possible. They could even go corner here if they really wanted to. They could go Caleb Farley. But I just married them to this idea of Azeez Ojulari, and I'm going to have to remain consistent with it because I think this is a great fit for Azeez, and I think this is a great fit for Arizona. Make that Arizona defense nasty, and then on top of that, you already have a pretty good offense with Kyler Murray and company, and you can just bolster that up in the second, third round there on the second day of the draft. And then we have the Raiders. The Raiders, 17th. They might be getting potentially what could end up being one of the top corners in this draft. A lot of people think that Caleb Farley might be the top corner in this draft, but to me, Patrick Surtain and Horn are better. But Caleb Farley winding up at 17th to the Raiders. That's a brilliant draft spot there for the Raiders. They need secondary help. Caleb Farley's glaring them in the eyes. Yes, I know that potentially they could go offensive lineman, but your defense needs work. And you got to start in that secondary, and you're staring at potentially one of the best corners in the entire draft at Caleb Farley, who fell all the way to 17th. You draft Caleb Farley. At one point, this guy was potentially going to be a top 10 pick. Draft him at 17. 18, I hate this. I really do. I hate this for a multitude of reasons. I hate it because I think this guy is really talented, and I hate that I have to say this, but running backs do not have much draft value anymore. Miami, the Dolphins, I'm going to be honest. Last year at running back was such a weird situation, man. It was so weird how it ran. I think you need a workhorse. I think you need to just get a guy that you know is going to be playing each and every single week, and that is Najee Harris out of Alabama, the best running back in this year's class. If you had asked me going into last year, I would have told you it was Travis Etienne, but Najee Harris, he ran away with that title this past year, was an absolute beast this year at Alabama, and I think Najee Harris has a legit shot to make it into the first round, and I think it could be with the Dolphins. 19th, we have the football team, the Washington football team. To me, man, at this point with the football team, you weren't able to get a QB in this draft, but you know what you could still get if you're the football team? You could still get a top offensive lineman that has potential to be a star, and he's a very versatile offensive lineman that you can move around. That's Elijah Vera Tucker out of USC. I think Elijah Vera Tucker is going to be a little bit of a steal here. I think you're going to get a lot of production out of him in the league, and Elijah Vera Tucker should be a very solid NFL player. That's not that I wouldn't be worried too much at 19 with taking Elijah Vera Tucker. Now, the first really kind of shocker here to me is Atlanta here at 20. Now, to me at 20, Atlanta, you're not replacing Matt Ryan at 20. You're not. The receivers at that point are Bateman. I don't know if you do that. Maybe you do the Julio trade, which is going around. Maybe you do a lot of different things here, but if I'm them, I'm fixing an offensive line issue that they got there, and I'm going to actually draft Tevin Jenkins out of Oklahoma State. I think he is an interesting prospect. He's not going to have as high of draft value as some people. His draft value is going to be weird for some people. Some people might value him higher. Some people might value him a whole lot lower than what a lot of people do. But at the end of the day, Tevin Jenkins is a solid offensive lineman. I think he could be a little bit of a reach at 20, but it fills a need if you're the Falcons. 21, we have the Indianapolis Colts. Obviously, the Colts this offseason, they did themselves no favors offensively. They really didn't. The only thing I could say really on the offensive side of things that you really shouldn't be concerned about is probably running back with Jonathan Taylor. I don't think you need to replace a running back. I could see a situation that if a quarterback's there, they trade up, or they not necessarily trade up, but they draft a QB simply because how long do you have? But the Colts, to me, I think the best fit for them is Rashad Bateman. It fills the receiver need. It keeps them around offensively, and hopefully they can get things going there. Then we have Tennessee drafting at 22. I got them taking a linebacker out of Tulsa. I love Zaven Collins' game. I think this guy is going to be a stud in the league. I think he is going to be a very solid quality player. I don't think he's necessarily going to be a superstar, but I think he is going to be one of those consistent players that you look at and why is that team successful? Oh, it's because Zaven Collins has been Zaven Collins for the last 3 or 4 years. I think Zaven Collins is one of those guys that will severely increase the abilities of the defense. And I think Tennessee is already a pretty solid defense, but adding another linebacker in there that can really just get nasty and physical is exactly what I think Tennessee needs. Drafting Zaven Collins, to me, is a phenomenal move because I think this guy might be a little bit underrated. So I love Zaven Collins' game. 23rd, I actually have the Jets taking Alex Leatherwood. I have them doing this simply because there's no running back here that's worth taking if I'm the Jets. And you want to, if you're the Jets, you need, and I'm being super serious when I say this, first round, do not look at defense. I do not care about defense first round if I am the Jets. Why? Because you just drafted Zach Wilson. You either go running back, you go receiver, or you go offensive lineman. And I don't think, maybe Kadarius Toney makes sense here for them, but to me, Alex Leatherwood makes the most sense here because you're getting an offensive lineman. And you know me, I love to marry these ideas. When you get a young quarterback, you need to get a solid offensive line built around him. The Jets are a team that does not have a solid offensive line. Go out there and get Alex Leatherwood. He was part of a solid offensive line out of Alabama. He could be part of a solid offensive line in the NFL. Next, we have Pittsburgh at 24. I've married them to this idea too. They could easily go quarterback if a quarterback is on the board. Because really, Pittsburgh is kind of a wild card. They could do a lot of different things. But I got them taking an offensive lineman. Obviously, they just had a retired offensive lineman this offseason. I got them drafting Jalen Mayfield out of Michigan. I think Jalen Mayfield's a solid offensive lineman. I don't necessarily feel like he's a first-round offensive lineman, but if the cards play the way it played, then I could see Jalen Mayfield go in the first round. 25th, it belongs to the Jaguars. The Jaguars, they are going to be in a very interesting situation because the Jaguars just need help. Their entire draft board shouldn't even be positioned. It should literally be needs help. That is their entire draft board. They just need help. I got them drafting the top safety in this year's draft, Trevon Moehrig out of TCU. Obviously, they could go offensive line here. They could go potentially maybe a receiver here. They could do a lot of different things if you're the Jaguars. Maybe if they really want to, they could go a tight end, maybe jump a little bit on Pat Freiermuth. There's a lot of different things the Jaguars could do, but I think Trevon Moehrig is probably going to be the guy there. Cleveland, The Browns at 26, I got them taking an interior defensive lineman, and that is Christian Barmore out of Alabama. I think Barmore is going to be very solid in the league. You pair him up with a Myles Garrett, that team is going to be nasty. It's going to get sacks. It's going to make plays. It's going to force fumbles. It's going to be very, very fun for those Broncos fans. I think it will be a very, very solid idea to go out there and get Christian Barmore. 27th, I got the Ravens. Ravens obviously just traded Orlando Brown. I think they did that more so because I think they might go out and get Jackson Carman out of Clemson, offensive lineman. Now, this guy has weird draft value. I've seen him go as early as round 1. I've seen him go as late as round 2 to 3. He could see a spike in his draft stock here if we get a little bit of an offensive line happy like I've been in this mock draft. If we get a little bit offensive line happy, I could see the Ravens saying, you know what, let's go fix that need and let's go get Jackson Carman at 27. New Orleans, I think New Orleans is drafting a linebacker. Whether that linebacker is the linebacker I think it is, or maybe it's Zaven Collins if he doesn't go where I think he's going to go. I think the Saints are going to draft a linebacker. And for me, I think that linebacker is going to end up being Nick Bolton. I absolutely love Nick Bolton's game out of Missouri. I think he can fly all around the field. I think he's a very solid player. I think he has a high potential. I absolutely love the kid. He should be a solid linebacker in the NFL. Green Bay, I've married them to the idea of drafting a receiver. I'm sticking consistent with it. Obviously, Kadarius Toney is probably the best receiver available at this point. But to me, Rondale Moore makes the most sense for Green Bay because you're not necessarily bringing in a guy that specifies with necessarily one thing. Rondale Moore is a very talented guy. You pair him alongside Devontae Adams, that could be very, very good for Green Bay. So that's what I got them doing. Buffalo, I got them taking Greg Newsome the second. If you're Buffalo, you're already in a very good situation, so you're just trying to find somebody, one of these pieces in this year's draft that's just going to put you over the top. And I think Greg Newsome is going to be a very good player, and he might be that piece that is able to put Buffalo over the top. Baltimore at 31, I got them taking receiver Kadarius Toney. I have them doing this simply because I think that there is going to be a little bit of need offensively to get another weapon for Lamar Jackson. And that team is going to be nasty if they can bring in Kadarius Toney because that team is full of speed if they're able to bring in Kadarius Toney. And then Tampa Bay, I got them drafting the best player available at that point, and that is Kwity Paye out of Michigan, defensive end. Kwity Paye, unfortunate for him that I have him falling so low. I just don't see much of a need for a lot of teams up in that point, and I don't think that the value there is worth passing on some of the needs for some of those teams. Let me get the Jaguars at 33, and that is Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, adding a linebacker to Jacksonville, helping out that defense. That team is desperate, like I've said. They need help. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is a guy that I think is an absolute beast. But I don't know his draft stock, man. He might be a first rounder. He might end up being a second rounder. I don't know. The consensus on him is really weird. 34 is a guy that I actually had going as early as 14th, but he fell 20 spots now, and that's Jalen Phillips, edge rusher out of Miami. I think he's probably the better of the two defensive ends out of Miami compared to Gregory Rousseau. Jalen Phillips, I think, has a higher ceiling than Gregory Rousseau. A lot of people are souring over Gregory Rousseau, though, so that's nothing that is not been said before. Next, we are at Atlanta. In Atlanta, I got them adding a big boy up front, and that's Davion Nixon, defensive lineman out of Iowa. Davion Nixon, I think, is very similar to Christian Barmore. He can be a very good defensive lineman, but the problem is I don't know if necessarily Atlanta's going to need it. But it would definitely be a solid pick. He's going to be a starter. I think he'll be a starter if you are Atlanta. But, the draft is a little bit unpredictable. 36, I finally have the Miami Dolphins doing the addressing of the receiver situation. I had them drafting Terrence Marshall, the second receiver from LSU this year's draft. It might not be one of those high names that I know my guy Joseph Collin wants, whether it's the Waddles, whether it's the Jamar Chases, whether it's the Devontae Smiths. I know it's not that. I know. But you're not as desperate there because you do have Devontae. You do have Will Fuller. You're in a better situation this year that you don't need one of those star receivers. But you could add another third one there with Terrence Marshall in the second round and fix some of the other stuff that needs to be fixed around Miami. Philadelphia, they have pick 37. Philadelphia, commit to Jalen Hurts. You got a receiver first round in Devontae Smith. Let's go and let's commit fully to him. Let's get him a good O-line, and let's try to start that off like getting Samuel Cosmi in Philadelphia. Pick 38 for the Bengals. I got them taking I have them doing this because they didn't take an offensive lineman in the first round. They should have took Panay. They didn't take him. They said, you know what, let's get a guy that's very talented in Trey Smith. The problem with Trey Smith is I don't know whether he's going to have longevity in the league, but I think he is a very talented player out of Tennessee. Trey Smith is a good player. If he will probably be a starter on that Cincinnati Bengals offensive line. Carolina, I got them taking Hamza Nasiruddin, my bad. You had a great pick last year, Jeremy Chin. You got to continue to build that team up. I don't know, maybe a quarterback. I don't know what else they really need out there in Carolina. But you pair Nasiruddin next to Jeremy Chin, that's going to be a very, very good team there that you got out in Carolina. Because, you just got Kyle Pitts. That's a stud. Nasiruddin next to Chin would be pretty fun as well. Then we have number 40 belonging to the Denver Broncos. I have them drafting Gregory Rousseau. Obviously, we did not see the big defensive move from the Broncos that we could have seen in the first round. I think they're making it in the second round now. Gregory Rousseau's stock is plummeted, man. At one point, this guy was a top 15 guy. And now I've seen him go as low as third round. This guy's stock's plummeted. I think if you're the Broncos, you're a defensive team, you got to say, you know what? Let's take our chance with Gregory Rousseau and let's get him. He could potentially be that top 15 player that we thought he was earlier in the year. Detroit, I got them taking a linebacker out of Texas, Joseph Osai. I think if you're Texas, or if you're Detroit, receivers in need, linebackers in need, and that's what they're filling. That's exactly what they're filling when they went out there and they got Jalen Waddle, and now they're getting on Joseph Osai, who I think Joseph Osai might be falling through the cracks a little bit because not a lot of people are giving him respect, including me, but he's still a very solid player out of Texas. Giants, like I said, I had them taking J.C. Horn in the first round. I had them, rather than going out and getting an offensive lineman, which they do need, I had them going out and I had them getting a corner. Now is the time to get the offensive lineman, a guy that had first-round talent at one point, but a lot of it's more so based off potential, and there's a lot of offensive linemen that are better. That's Wyatt Davis. I think Wyatt Davis at 42 is a pretty safe bet for the Giants. You're not giving up anything. Like, there's literally no loss in getting Wyatt Davis here. So I think it would be very solid. And then I have another trade. I have Houston moving up into the second round. Now, they only did have a third-round pick, but I have Houston moving up. They trade their third-rounder. They trade another pick from next year to move up into the second round because they do not know whether or not their quarterback, their guy, Deshaun Watson, will be playing for them next season. It might end up being Tyrod Taylor. But at the end of the day, you're sitting there and you don't know whether or not you have a long-term solution at quarterback. Do something that the Eagles did last year. Get a quarterback in the second round to potentially create some controversy with your starter. And then if worse comes to worse, you could do the same thing the Eagles did in trading Carson Wentz, and you can trade Deshaun Watson if it comes to that. We don't know whether or not Deshaun Watson's going to be playing next year, yet alone if Houston can even consider that as a lock, that they even have him on payroll next year. Trade up, go get Kellen Mond out of Texas A&M. Keep him in the state of Texas, and he could be a very solid guy. He's actually my first quarterback in that second tier. That second tier meaning Kyle Trask, meaning Kellen Mond, and meaning Davis Mills. He is my top guy with those three. Next, we have Dallas. Once again, I have Dallas addressing a secondary concern. I hate the secondary in Dallas. I would hope they fix it. Caden Stearns out of Texas. Keep him in the state as well. Go get a solid safety out of Texas. Add him to that along with adding Patrick Surtain. And then you can do whatever you want, Jerry Jones, but fix your secondary. 45th, we have the Jaguars. Jaguars obviously drafting Trevor Lawrence. Obviously having a decent draft so far with Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Now they're sitting at 45. I think they're taking Dylan Radunz. North Dakota State played with Trey Lance, so he does have experience there on the offensive line with a good quarterback. Dylan Radunz is the guy there at 45 if I am Jacksonville. New England would have loved to get Kyle Pitts in the first round, obviously filling that void that Gronk left when Gronk left New England. They haven't had the same success since that dominant tight end left. Second round, I think they go with Pat Freiermuth. Obviously, they've tried a lot of different things. They've tried Devin Asiasi. They've tried a lot of different things there in New England at that tight end position since Gronk's left, and it just hasn't stuck yet. Pat Freiermuth, I think, is the guy because we know that they love their tight ends out in New England. So let's see what Pat Freiermuth can bring to that Patriots team and see if he can do his job and play the Patriot way. 47th, I said that I need the Chargers to potentially go linebackers and offensive linemen. I got them getting an edge rusher, though. I think Carlos Bastion's probably the top player on the board right now. I think he could end up even going in the first round. If he's sitting at 47 for the Chargers, there should be no excuse for them to pass on Carlos Bastion. 48th, we have the Raiders once again. Now, I did have them draft Caleb Farley, obviously best player available at that time. Now I have them drafting the best offensive lineman available at this time, in my opinion, and that is Creed Humphrey. Yes, he's a center, so it's a little bit tougher because obviously you need to know whether or not you can move him around. But at the end of the day, you need help in the offensive lineman, and he's the best offensive lineman on the board, so that's the best you got. Arizona, I got them drafting their receiver now with the 49th pick. I got them taking probably one of the better receivers in this year's draft that a lot of people might let slide through the cracks, but I know a lot of people love him too. That's Elijah Moore out of Ole Miss. I think he's a very good receiver, and he could be something special. 50th, I have the Dolphins once again saying, hey, let's go offensive line. Let's really commit to protecting Tua Tagovailoa, and let's go out there and get Walker Little out of Stanford. Dolphins, protect Tua. 51, you get Jason Owe to the football team, edge rusher out of Penn State. Once again, just helping that nasty front seven that is blooming up on the football team in Washington. Chicago. Bear down, boys. I got us taking Asante Samuel Jr. to be that third corner there between Desmond Trufant and Jalen Johnson. I absolutely love Asante Samuel Jr. I think he could be the next Chicago Bear. I think this would be a very good pick for the Ryan Pace, Matt Nagy era. I would be 100% behind this as long as we get a quarterback first round. If we don't get a quarterback first round, then we better hope Samuel drops to the second round or to the third round. Because if we go offensive line, which I'm not against in the first round, second round needs to be QB. If we go QB in the first round, I'm okay with drafting Asante Samuel here as long as we end up with like an Alaric Jackson, a Deontay Brown. As long as we end up with a quality offensive lineman in that fourth round, that fourth, fifth round area on day 3. We can't do what we did last year and let Prince Tegowana go fall. We need to get offensive linemen. I don't care. I don't want to draft some offensive linemen again that we barely heard of. Don't get me wrong, Arlington Hambright was solid this year. Latavius Simmons, I think he could be a beast. But we need to get an offensive lineman with some name value to him. We got to know that, hey, this guy has what it takes at a collegiate level. We know that this guy's solid. I want one of those guys. So I'd be okay with an offensive lineman here if maybe one of the guys like a Samuel Cosme fell. But at this point, nobody else on the board makes sense for us. I think Asante Samuel Jr. is probably the best option for us. Tennessee with 53. I absolutely love this pick. Now, it might not happen because they do have Johnny Smith, but I love Brevin Jordan out of Miami. I think this guy's going to be very solid. I've said it before. He's similar. Now, he is nowhere near as good, but he is a similar type of player than what Kyle Pitts is. I think Brevin Jordan has the ability to move all around the field. So I would definitely look into him if I'm some of those teams that are potentially needing a tight end. And that helps Tennessee out there by getting another weapon for Ryan Tannehill to use. Indianapolis, best player available now. I mean, you already have a good defense, but let's make that defense a little bit better, and let's go draft a USC defensive lineman in Jay Tufele. I think Jay Tufele might be a very underrated player in this year's draft. I could see him going in the first round, but I could also see him falling out, and I think he's going to end up falling out of the first round. 55, I got the Pittsburgh Steelers saying, you know what, let's finally address quarterback. It's been too long. Let's get Davis Mills out of Stanford. Davis Mills is a guy that is very interesting. I mean, there's a lot of controversy whether or not he's going to be drafted higher than what I have. I mean, we've heard that potentially there's teams that would move into the late first round to get Davis Mills. There's teams that might move up in the second round to get Davis Mills. Davis Mills is interesting. I got Pittsburgh getting him at 55, though. 56, Seattle, fix your offensive line, take Liam Eichenberg. I'm going to leave it that simple for you guys. The Rams. I don't know what the Rams would do in this draft. I'm going to be honest with you. I really don't know what they could do. I got them drafting Travis Etienne just because he's the best player in terms of being available. And he's also just a very solid running back that you could pair up there. And you could be very solid if you are the LA Rams. 58th, I have the Kansas City Chiefs getting an edge rusher to add to that defense and make that defense even better, and that's Hamilcar Rashed Jr. out of Oregon State. 59, we have Aaron Robinson joining that Cleveland secondary and helping make that defense even bigger and better than last year, and then you're going to hope that Baker Mayfield is able to work with what he has. 60th, we have the Saints getting their potential quarterback of the future there if Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill do not pan out, and that is Kyle Trask at 60, quarterback out of Florida that I think could be very, very talented. Buffalo, once again, Buffalo's just trying to fit pieces here and get something to work. I think Buffalo's in a great position in this draft. To me, I think they should get Patrick Jones. I think he could be a very solid addition to that defensive front. Green Bay, you need a replacement for Kevin King. And one of the guys there that I think could be, I had a first-round grade on him early in the year, but I could definitely see him falling, and that's Eric Stokes. I think Eric Stokes is a very solid player, but I don't know if he's going to end up even making it out of this. He might not even make it. He might not even be drafted in the first 2 rounds. Who knows? But you got to find a replacement for Kevin King, man, and they could be Eric Stokes. Kansas City now finally they draft an offensive lineman. Obviously, that was a big concern during the Super Bowl. I mean, they've figured it out. Obviously, the last few weeks they obviously got Orlando Brown, but I think Eric Swinson's probably the guy here out of Oklahoma. if you are Kansas City. And then once again, with 64, you got the Buccaneers taking best player available, and that is Tyson Campbell. I mean, geez, man. Woo. That was quite the mock draft. 2-round mock draft. Hopefully you guys like who I got your teams picking. I kind of threw the Texans in there because I needed to, so that any Texans fans watching are not too disappointed that they didn't have a pick. But I could definitely see them moving up for Kellen Mond. I could see them moving up for like a Davis Mills, maybe a Kyle Trask, maybe just because of the concern around Deshaun Watson. But man, we are only about 24 hours away from the draft, man. I will be live during the NFL draft. Night 1, I will be live. I do have a midterm before that, so I will probably be live a little bit about an hour before the draft goes on. And then I will also be live on Friday during the round 2 and 3. And I will be live on Saturday for rounds 4 through 7. Let me check what time the NFL draft begins on Friday. Okay, Fridays is 7 Eastern, so that means it's going to be 4 o'clock my time. That's fine. That is fine. Fridays is going to be a little bit more of an interesting situation because it starts at 4 o'clock my time. I do have a class at 3:30 to 4:30, so Friday is going to end up probably I'm probably going to try to rush that lab exam. But I will be live while the draft starts there on Friday. And then Saturday we're not going to even worry about because it's the weekend. And if you guys see, I'm clean shaven for this draft weekend. But yeah, man. Yeah. 8 p.m. tomorrow, Eastern Standard, 5 p.m. for me. And I got a midterm that ends about 3 o'clock. I'll probably be live about 4 o'clock tomorrow. So make sure you guys come in, tune to the live stream. I will be reacting to almost every pick. I will be reacting to every pick during the draft. It'll be interesting. It will be interesting for sure. Obviously, it's just going to be a video of me. You're not going to get to see... I might do it on my laptop that you can see who gets picked to the side of me, but you're not gonna see the live footage or video of it. That's just not gonna happen because I'm not getting copyright or anything like that. But I mean, we're in for a good one. We're in for a good draft, man. I'm gonna get on out of here. Thank you guys for watching this video. You know where to follow me. I'll be live tweeting all weekend long. I'll be very active on social media, Twitter, everything. I'm looking forward to it, man. But I will be talking to you guys tomorrow during the live stream.